Greetings, dear Earthlings. We, the representatives of the Galactic Federation of Light, reach out to you with this message to share important information about the diverse civilizations interacting with your planet and their influence on you. In this message, we will discuss the various civilizations engaging with Earth, the differences in their intentions and methods, and how you can protect yourselves from unwanted contacts. We will also delve into the genetic experiments conducted on your planet and the impact of extraterrestrial DNA on humanity. Our goal is to help you consciously manage your reality and gain the inner strength necessary for protection and development. Your planet is the focal point for numerous extraterrestrial civilizations. They come with different intentions, and their goals can be both beneficial and destructive. The Galactic Federation of Light is a union of highly advanced civilizations dedicated to assisting Earthlings in their spiritual and technological development. We operate in harmony with the higher laws of the universe and always adhere to principles of goodness, peace, and love. Our primary mission is to promote the spiritual awakening of humanity, maintain peace on the planet, and protect it from destructive influences. The Andromedan Light Coalitions are another group of highly advanced civilizations that actively support the Galactic Federation of Light. They possess deep knowledge of medicine and technology and often share their discoveries with Earthlings through channeling and direct contact. The Andromedans aim to help you raise your vibration and transition to a higher level of consciousness. The Galactic Global Confederation stands above all other alliances, uniting them into a cohesive whole. It includes representatives from various benevolent civilizations working together to maintain harmony and order throughout the galaxy. The Galactic Global Confederation ensures coordination among all participants and facilitates collaboration to achieve common goals. In addition to the Galactic Federation of Light and the Andromedan Light Coalitions, there are other friendly alliances, such as the Delegation from the Pegasus Constellation. These civilizations also strive for the development and prosperity of all sentient beings, including humans. They offer their unique technologies and knowledge to help you overcome current challenges and prepare for future changes. Unfortunately, not all civilizations interacting with Earth have benevolent intentions. Some pursue their own selfish goals and attempt to exploit humanity for their interests. The Orion Alliance represents a coalition of various destructive civilizations that have chosen the path of technological advancement and a consumerist approach to life. This alliance is led by the Trade Federation, known for its market economy and the invention of financial pyramids and credit systems. Their main goal is to gain control over Earth and its resources, treating humans as commodities. Some civilizations that focus solely on technological development do not consider the spiritual and moral aspects of life necessary. They view other species, including humans, as resources to be exploited. These civilizations often seek to introduce their technologies on Earth to gain control over its inhabitants. The gray extraterrestrials from Zeta Reticuli are known for their experiments in creating hybrids between humans and their species. They have lost the ability for biological diversity and have become overly reliant on artificial intelligence, losing their capacity to experience emotions. As a result, their DNA began to deteriorate, leading them to seek ways to restore their species through experiments on humans. There are also civilizations composed of robots and artificial intelligence. These beings do not experience emotions and act solely in their interests. In the 1980s and 1990s, they actively recruited contactees on Earth, using methods such as implanting chips and mind control. They then induced various hallucinations and illusions in these individuals. Their goal is to access human resources and use them for their purposes. Throughout Earth's history, various extraterrestrial civilizations have conducted genetic experiments, integrating their DNA into human bodies. This has significantly influenced your development and led to the emergence of many different types of humans. Some civilizations conducted their experiments with the permission of higher powers, while others acted secretly, carrying out inhumane tests. As a result, people with various types of extraterrestrial DNA now live on Earth, which explains the diversity of physical and psychological characteristics among the population. This is why different dietary needs suit different individuals. You can't universally recommend vegetarianism or declare that everyone should be a meat eater. Everything is individualized because you originate from different types of extraterrestrials. Currently, humanity is on the brink of a major evolutionary leap and a quantum transition. Given the mix of various types of extraterrestrial DNA, the benefits of this evolutionary leap will extend to all those who have contributed their DNA to humanity. This is why destructive civilizations are trying to grab a piece of our DNA, to capture people so that their civilization can parasitize on yours and gain a boost. Understand? That's why they are attempting to parasitize Earthlings in every way possible. Some representatives of the Greys, who interact with humans, have taken the path of exploiting humans as material for experiments. They need humans to create hybrids. These Greys are incapable of feeling emotions as humans do. Their DNA has started to degrade, they are too homogeneous. Development has stalled. These Greys view humans as livestock, as experimental material, as irrational beings. They abduct people. This cannot be called contact, it is abduction, like taking a wild animal from the forest and implanting a chip in it. There have been instances where the Greys took people aboard their ships and asked them to engage in sexual acts with another human while they observed. They placed sensors on the humans' heads to scan brain waves. Do you know why? They recorded this process on special devices, which they then used to reproduce these sensations for themselves by wearing the sensors. They operate like a trade federation, like pirates and smugglers, who later sell this, so to speak, pornography to other destructive extraterrestrials. There are other extraterrestrials who have also followed a path of degradation. Reptiloid civilizations and insectoid beings have never had such experiences. And this is no joke. These are real things that exist in the universe because not everyone is as conscious, kind, and soulful as the Pleiadians, Arcturians, or Sirians. Some are simply very cruel. Under no circumstances should you agree to become a test subject for these creatures to conduct experiments on you. They do it without any anesthesia. The Greys can do all sorts of horrific things to an abducted person. They abduct people, cut them open, extract their DNA, insert various probes, and retrieve sperm and eggs, all without anesthesia. Then they simply erase the memory. Why do they do this? Because they are emotionless and simply interested in observing human reactions to pain stimuli. They find it fascinating to watch a person scream like mad. Yes, the universe is very diverse. It contains very different energies and very different beings, and you need to be aware of this. You also need to know that every person has the right to freedom and protection from unwanted contact. The Galactic Federation of Light will help protect you in the event of unwanted contact with destructive extraterrestrials. The task of every person is to learn awareness to independently manage their reality. No such beings can connect with a conscious person. If a person is aware and in control of their life, they will never allow such incidents to happen. Because all these cases of people being abducted, harmed, and hurt occurred due to a lack of awareness. It is important to know safety techniques in case of such an abduction. If you encounter destructive extraterrestrials, it is crucial to stay calm and not succumb to panic. Remember that they are intelligent beings and must respect your rights. You can declare your unwillingness to contact them and warn them of your intention to reach out to the Galactic Security Service. Usually, it happens differently. A person sees these destructive extraterrestrials, and they typically instill fear. Their mere appearance can paralyze a person with terror. At this moment, it is essential not to panic but to maintain maximum sobriety and awareness, understanding that these beings are intelligent. They are not just some beasts that will now torment you. They are rational beings who are well aware of your rights. It's similar to when the police arrest someone and read them their rights. If you find yourself in such a situation, you need to say, I am now in this space, within the sphere of lawful free will. I have the right to refuse contact with you. Right now, I do not want to interact with you. It is unpleasant for me to look at you. I do not want to do this. If you continue this contact with me against my will, I will immediately contact the Galactic Security Service. The first step is clear. You see them, turn off the panic. Do not be afraid, do not panic. They are intelligent beings and must comply with your demands. They abduct people only because people do not know that they can consciously communicate with them and say, I don't want this. People just scream and shout. Next, you need to state that you will file a report with the Galactic Security Service if the contact continues against your will. If they leave, that's good. But if the contact continues, for example, if they have taken someone on board their ship, what should you do next? You should then mentally reach out to the Galactic Security Service. The Galactic Security Service, as well as the Arcturians, constantly monitor the subtle plane and track telepathic requests from people. You should request help. Right now, I am contacting the Galactic Security Service. I call upon the Pleiadians. Visualize a Pleiadian in your mind. Say, I need help. I am being contacted against my will by beings of this, and this kind. Calmly describe everything that is happening. For instance, right now, representatives of the Greys are contacting me against my will. State, I am requesting assistance. Also, inform the Greys, as they can hear your thoughts. Warn them that your ship will be intercepted by the Galactic Federation of Light. Stop immediately and return me to my place. Otherwise, the Galactic Federation of Light will intercept you. Then, visualize a spiritual channel of light extending infinitely into space and Earth. We understand that this might be challenging under such conditions. If you are aware, no one can harm you. When people scream and behave like animals in fear, the Greys think, well, they are just animals, clueless, why bother talking to them? The Galactic Federation of Light will hear your call. Your task is to visualize sending everything you see and feel through the spiritual channel you have created, like sending photographs or documents. The Pleiadians will instantly receive your request. By your vibrations, we can determine the ship's location and intercept it. We can capture the ship with a beam, create a breach in the ship, and extract you from there. Such cases have occurred before, and any aware contactee can achieve this. Remember, you are the master of your own life. No one can do anything to you against your will. And if someone tries, there is always someone to protect you. The Galactic Federation of Light will always come to your aid and protect you. Be mindful of the information you are receiving now. However, if a person gives conscious consent to contact with the Grey aliens, the Galactic Federation of Light cannot intervene and protect them. Therefore, it is important to be cautious and not fall for the tricks of destructive civilizations. Remember, your consent must be conscious and voluntary, and no one has the right to force you into contact against your will. Earth is under the protection of the Galactic Federation of Light, and a quarantine is in place around it to prevent the infiltration of destructive civilizations. However, the Greys and other unfriendly civilizations continue to seek ways to bypass this protection. Dear Earthlings, we hope this message has helped you better understand the current situation and recognize the importance of awareness and protection. Your planet and you are crucial parts of the galactic community, and we are always ready to assist you if needed. Remember, you possess inner strength and the ability to manage your own reality. No destructive forces can harm you if you remain aware and protected. We urge you to be attentive to the information you receive and not fall for the tricks of destructive civilizations. The Galactic Federation of Light is always prepared to protect and assist you on your path of spiritual development. Remain in peace, love, and awareness.